Hi everyone, I want to do a spring update 2026 spring. Just to give you a lowdown on the winter we had. It was by far the worst winter we had in 10 years easily. We had a low of minus 25 C, which I guess is approximately minus 15 Fahrenheit, but cold. We had no shortages of lots of minus 20s, lots of minus 15s Celsius throughout the winter. It was pretty much continuous. It was bad. It was a bad winter. Definitely got down to USDA Zone 5B temperatures here with one night at least. So bad news, and wasn't too sure what to think would happen in spring. Anyway, I'm going to tell you guys what I protected, what I didn't. We'll go through the yard and see how things did. So this is a Magnolia Coppertalica cultivar, and as you can see, the top of the leaves got pretty fried. It's potential that the stems are maybe fried, but maybe not. I mean, there are some flower buds that are looking pretty darn healthy like that, but all the leaves that were on the bottom, they were covered by snow. And one of the saving graces I think we had this winter was a pretty significant snow blanket, which obviously creates a lot of insulation, especially for the roots of the plants. But nonetheless, even these fried leaves, they'll bounce right back, flush back. So Coppertalica is pretty darn hardy. I have several evergreen euphorbias. It's kind of like mashed down by the weight of the snow and ice. This is a Ascot Rainbow euphorbia, which I will probably just cut right down to the ground and let it flush up. Needle palm, pretty much covered by snow. That's spear pulled last year. Pups are looking fine, and there's no spear pull on the pups. None of this stuff is protected, only protected by the snow that we got. Cryptomeria spirals, probably my least hardy Cryptomeria, but did fine. But it was covered by a lot of snow. Maybe the top there is, where is it? There we go. Maybe that's a little fried, but possibly not. English cherry laurel, all the exposed branches pretty much got fried. I'm pretty sure there's even some stem damage on the top of the stems, but a lot of the plant remained evergreen, and especially the stuff under the snow was pretty much bulletproof. But I'm not worried about this plant. This will just flush back. My evergreen Daphne, which I can't recall which cultivar it is. I think it's an X transatlantica or Eternal Fragrance. I can't remember, but always very evergreen for me and a reliable plant here. Probably enjoys my pH being close to neutral. Little sable minor back there, totally fried, very exposed. Over here I have three of these euphorbias, the Ascot Rainbow. They all look very similar. Just for appearance, I don't know if it would bounce back. Probably not. I'm going to cut it right to the ground, even though a lot of that foliage is still evergreen on the ends. Not so sure about those stems. Cryptomerias, for those that are unfamiliar with growing Cryptomeria japonica, it's really common for it to bronze up, depending on the cultivar, some more than others. So if you see bronzing, that's not winter burn at all. That's just natural, the way it looks. Eventually we'll get to one that has a really severe case of that, but we'll talk to it when we get to it. Nandinas, top parts are fried for sure. The stems are probably fine, but as you can see, there's a lot of green on the lower branching of the Nandinas. Another Cryptomeria. Again, the bronzing's fine. One of the issues I had this winter was this big fat rabbit that was running around my property eating and girdling a lot of my plants. Like, for instance, the osmanthus, what's it called? The four-color osmanthus, Kashinki. Pretty ravaged by the rabbit, so we'll see what happens with that in a little while. I did a video early on this. This was the marbled variegated cherry laurel that fried up pretty early in the season. Little bit of green, as you can see on the bottom there, but you got to understand that any kind of broadleaf evergreen that is variegated has a lot less chlorophyll than a normal plant would, so it suffers desiccation. I was going to say another word that probably isn't too nice to say, but desiccation in the winter. So no surprises, but I'm hoping that should flush back. It's another Ascot's rainbow. There's my Trachycarpus fortunii, Chinese windmill palm. Worked great all winter, man. This is my first time actually growing one of these, and boxed it up, put a probe in there, a sensor that, you know, kicks on at, I don't know, when it hits 37 degrees Fahrenheit, kicks on, then kicks back off at 47 degrees Fahrenheit, which is attached to lights that provide some heat. So all winter long I have a sensor, or I can see what temperature it is inside my house from my living room, and it was like clockwork. I just watched it go from, you know, from 37 to 47 back and forth all winter long. And I peeked inside and it looks great. So it's pretty easy to do. So this is what some of you guys would probably be very interested in. I promised everybody, including myself, that I would not protect my southern magnolias. And despite the horrible winter, I stuck to my word, and these have no protection whatsoever. But not surprising, the winter we had, a lot of foliage kill. I'm going to go around to the other side because there is still some green on some of the foliage. So, but the good news is the stems are completely healthy. So this is an Edith Bogue. It did this last year anyways, even with protection. So I'll just drop the leaves and flush right back. So I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, like I said, the stems are great. Let's go over here. This is the Oriental Spice Bush that holds its leaves like this. It's a really nice shrub. I'm actually really enjoying that one. So here's the only Cryptomeria japonica that I did protect this year, only because it was a first-year plant. This is a cultivar called Broom. Again, the bronzing is perfectly normal. Zero damage on this plant, so pretty happy. In addition to the rabbit damage, I've had a lot of, as you can see, the little mouse tunnels that are made underneath the snow. So a lot of damage from rodents of all kinds. I'll give you an example of that. In fall time, I bought a nice Cyrus canadensis, or eastern redbud, weeping yellow form, and look at this. That's awful. I think this plant might be done for. Look at that. Just girdled all the way around by that big fat rabbit. So, I don't know. That's just the price you pay, man, for having a garden, and I appreciate the wildlife, so I'm stuck with it. That's kind of cool. Green onions that I planted from the grocery store